SypherPK just uploaded a brand new video titled Fortnite Isn't the Same, and the entire Fortnite community has been talking about it, so why not react to it today? I have not seen this video yet. Everybody has been telling me that it really hits home for a lot of people, and I've talked to a couple other people and said it's reaction worthy. So today, as somebody who is very happy with the state of Fortnite, I thought I might have a good opinion on this. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let's react to this video together by SypherPK. Already on the wrong side, guys. Let's get into it.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sypher. Fortnite is missing something. There has been a lot on my mind about the state of the game over the past few months, and I have a lot to say, so I'm going to be playing this solo match while...
And this is already giving like a nice nostalgia vibe to the old SypherPK commentary videos. I personally really miss this with Sypher. Like, you know it's serious. You don't have the music. You don't have like, I don't know what the track's title, but like the SypherPK music, it's a SypherPK video, but he's about to drop something serious.
I'll pretty much just talking about how I feel about where Fortnite is heading and some of the good things and some of the bad things that is happening in the game right now.
Now, it's very important to note, if you happen to be brand new to the channel, if you've been following the channel, you might know this. I'm very happy with the state of Fortnite. I look at Fortnite like, here's the thing, guys. While I can have an opinion on Fortnite, and obviously there's a lot of things that I would personally change about Fortnite, we're still going to be working on a video on the complete guide to fixing Fortnite part 2. I'm still incredibly happy with how this game has turned out. I think that people, invest a little too much of their lives into this. I think that any UEFN devs, I think content creators, I think like they obviously have, I don't want to say like a bigger amount of say, but they are justified in worrying as much as they do. But typically I just load up, it's a video game, I try to have fun in the video game. That's how I come about this, but I'm interested to see exactly what he's going to be diving into, because there are things that I do believe could fix Fortnite, but I'm just not in the camp at all where it's like, oh, if Epic Games keeps doing this, we're going to have some trouble. Like how many times have we heard that since 2018?
It has been a while since I've done a video like this, because I've been so locked in on the content creation process, giving you guys content that you can watch and taking you out of whatever situation you're in, whatever's on your mind, and giving you some entertainment.
And yeah, the videos have been bangers, man. I've been watching SypherPK a little bit more than I don't know if I would say ever have. I've been watching SypherPK probably the most in Chapter 1, Chapter 2, but the videos have been really solid lately.
And hopefully, in today's video, we can talk about a game that we all love, we all want to see succeed in a positive but still critical manner.
And that's very important too, because not enough people in this community give constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is extremely healthy from Epic Games, and if somebody with the status of SypherPK is critiquing Fortnite in this nice manner where he's just sitting down having a conversation, that's extremely beneficial. But what this community oftentimes does is, Epic Games, your game is dead if you do this. Like, and just obviously, getting into the doxing employees and just crying over on X.
So Fortnite, in terms of player count, in terms of the numbers, it's actually not in a bad spot right now. The player count of the game is actually super solid. You can look at the live player count, and we have had worse times in the past.
Absolutely. And I don't think that this is a bad time for Fortnite at all. I understand if you want to talk about the state of UEFN. That's where I think the biggest conversation is at the moment. But Fortnite has been and still is thriving. That's irrefutable.
We're getting OG seasons. We're getting constant updates. They're still putting a good foot forward when it comes to new updates. But the issue is that this game is 33 seasons old. The game's approaching 8 years, and we have had 33 seasons of content, and each season of content has had, dozens of updates.
And I think, again, they've been doing a solid job throughout Chapter 6 so far. Chapter 6, Season 1 and Season 2, they've done a fantastic job with the updates. Are there still issues? Yes, primarily the storyline, live events, things like that. But the game itself, Fortnite, what most people come to the game for, is still very solid.
So, Fortnite is in a situation right now that not a lot of other games have the problem. Not a lot of other games have this problem. You see, other games, they don't update as often, right? So over the course of like 5 years, another game that is comparable to Fortnite will have a quarter of the amount of new stuff added to the game
If that, if that. Fortnite pretty well. Is there even a game that even like comes close to the amount of times like Fortnite has updates in it? It's phenomenal, man. It's crazy what they do, and I still love this game, dude. I still love this game. But again, I'm interested to see what he's going to be diving into. And I know if you happen to be new to this channel over here, we are pausing a lot. I have the original video linked in the description down below if you are interested. And I would imagine that most of you have already watched it, to be honest with you. But we do have to pause and give commentary throughout to have transformative and for use guidelines.
Fortnite has added. But because of how much Fortnite adds so quickly, it keeps the content fresh and exciting. But at the same time, we are now at a point where it feels like all new content added to this game is a remix of a previous concept that already existed, a reskin of a previous gun, a previous POI, a previous mechanic.
I don't know if I agree with that. Think about all the things that they've added to Lawless. Things just off the top of my head right now. They have the brand new, like, the recycled things would be things like the vaults, the ARs. There's only so much that you could do with that, excuse me, but things like the kneecapper, things like the tri-beam laser rifle, those things are still new. Those things are still fresh, and I would imagine, like, I don't know if you could call the POIs fresh or recycled amount of content, because you could, like, argue and say, okay, well, Crime City is just another city POI. I still think that we've been getting like a solid amount of content. The robbery train, that's brand new. I'm trying to think of things that like aren't recycled content, but they absolutely do recycle content. I personally don't have an issue with that as long as it's fun. And what this season has done for me personally, I know you might disagree. What this season has done for me personally is they've recycled the content in a very, very good way. I'm enjoying myself a lot this Battle Royale season. The recycled content is not the Lawless exotic items. Those are some of the most fun items that I've played with in Fortnite in quite some time.
You know, we have the vaults. We've had them plenty of different times before in the past. We have shotguns and ARs and assault rifles and all kinds of different weapons that we have had in the past. But these,
when it comes to just the weapons like the shotguns, assault rifle, I don't know if I would like, if I would want to knock Fortnite for that, because there's literally only so much you can do with weapons.
these are quote unquote new, but in reality, they're the same. They just look different. And this is a very unique problem because Fortnite is one of the few games out there that updates as aggressively and as consistently as it has. And something that used to be a huge strength is sort of showing up as a little bit of a weakness in some of these recent updates that they have put in the game. Now, I want to give credit where credit is due. The new exotics that they're adding this season, you can tell they're actually trying to think outside of the box of bringing us something that we haven't seen before, with like the Rift launcher and the new chug jug and new assault rifles.
And this is what I wish Fortnite would do a little bit more. I wish that they would add these wacky, strange, weird items to the loot pool a little bit more, because if you think about having those old amazing memories back in chapter 1, it was with something like the guided missile. It was with something like the shopping cart flipping over going down a hill. You had the most fun in Fortnite for most people when you were playing with some sort of wacky, bugged out thing. Sometimes you get sent over to the sky. Sometimes you're flying through the air on a guided missile. It's things like that, and they've done a good job with these exotics, especially with the rocket launcher, in bringing some of that fun back. Now, I don't want to say Epic Games has been bullied, but we've had a complete shift, and I talk about this all the time on the channel, guys. We have had a complete mindset shift, not only as a player base, but as a society. Everybody is getting more depressed. Everybody is getting more unhappy. Everybody's dopamine receptors are being completely fried, and nothing is making them happy anymore. You could add those exact same weapons that they had in OG Fortnite. You could add those exact same weapons into the game, paste it, and that's what they've been doing in Chapter 1, Season 3. And look, people start saying that OG Fortnite doesn't feel the same. But then again, they ended up nerfing something like the guided missile, right? You could re-add all of those still, like, those same guns to the game. Not even re-add, I don't mean reuse, but like the same kind of feeling for the weapons. Things like you saw in things like Chapter 2 Season 7. Things like Chapter 1 Season 7. Like, you know, things like the balloons. You add it into the game now, and there's a completely different reaction to it. The mindset of the player base has changed infinitely.
Shotguns. But even then, when they are trying to bring something new, a lot of these concepts and mechanics of these guns have also existed in the past, and they are still considered remixes or just rebranding of things that we already had.
I don't know if I agree with that, because there's, like, again, okay, technically he could be right, or I don't know if I agree with that. Like, looking like as deep into it as possible. Yes, we've had the Rift before. Yes, we've had a shockwave mechanic before, but I would say that this is a brand new concept, honestly.
On the other hand, because it's like, okay, you know, are you asking them to stop updating the game? No. Because on the other hand, when they take huge risks and they make something that really has never been done, we have situations like the car season.
Yep. I knew he was about to say that. I knew he was about to say that. And again, if you've been following the channel, you know my take. If you're new to the channel, I think things like the car update, things like Fortnite Rect are phenomenal for the game, but it's very important to separate casual and competitive. Leave the competitive players and don't have them have to deal with some busted stuff.
In Chapter 5, where a lot of people really were upset because Fortnite tried to go, you know, down a different path with the cars and the attachments and the overpowered vehicles.
And honestly, guys, I'm kind of on the opinion, and I know you might be the exception watching this video, so please don't comment down below saying this isn't how people feel, but I would imagine the most people who are online, and I'm talking about the people having freakouts. I'm not talking about the people being disappointed with an update or not liking an update. The people having freakouts. There is no pleasing those people. They'd freak out if you were to add the most basic thing in the world. They'd freak out if you were to add something down in the middle of the road. They'd freak out if you added something like Fortnite Rect. There is no pleasing the player base, the online Fortnite community. Most of the Fortnite community is a minority of players online. They're freaking out, and most normal people are just playing the game. If they don't like a season, they won't play it.
Half of the community loved it, half of the community hated it, but a lot of people did not like that. They're like, keep it simple, go with what we know. But what we do know is that when a game doesn't change, it eventually dies, no matter how good it is. And that's why Fortnite has lived for so long.
And I disagree. Like, even if Fortnite just were to make like some regular updates, like barely changing anything, I think it would still be okay at this point.
So what's the solution? What's the answer? Is it all doom and gloom? Here's the thing. I don't think so. I really don't think so. And I think one thing we need to start with is where Fortnite is putting some of its time and effort. You know, Fortnite has been putting a lot of effort into creating a metaverse, creating these new modes with ballistics, with Fortnite Lego, with rocket racing, with festival.
The problem is, though, I would have agreed with this argument in Chapter 5. Chapter 6, Battle Royale, has been great. Yeah, you know what? It hasn't been perfect. I know a lot of people had problems with Typhoon Blade. I know a lot of people have problems with things like the Kneecapper. But for the most part, Battle Royale has been very solid. Live events, storyline, I'll sit down, I'll agree with you. But I still think that they're putting a ton of effort into Battle Royale. I just wish, and I know it is much easier said than done, guys, but if I was in charge, I've said this on the channel before, if I was in charge, and I hate saying this because I hate talking about like the multi-billion-dollar company thing. I hate it, because a lot of people use those arguments in bad faith. A multi-billion-dollar company can afford to keep their live event and storyline team separate and just hire more people to keep the player base happy. If I was in charge, I would personally make those decisions. I would sacrifice a little bit of profit to keep the fans happy, to keep the players happy, and I'm sure just release some new skins, cover it there. They could cover it somehow. I would maximize each team working on ballistic, reload, whatever it is. I wouldn't like cut anybody anywhere. And again, it's different if we're talking about like a small game company, right? But this is Epic Games we're talking about. They can afford it.
And they're a big enough company to do these things.
I promise, guys, I haven't watched this video. I promise. I didn't know he was about to say that.
But there is a little bit of an issue when it comes to the risk involved in these projects. And let me tell you what I'm talking about. For example, the way Fortnite is approaching a lot of the content that they add is they are basically testing if a concept is going to be good. So they gave us Fortnite Ballistics pretty much in a beta form.
But that's what kind of how they sprung Battle Royale on us, right? I don't know. I haven't played Battle Royale back then, so I don't know if it was to the extent that we're getting ballistic. I know we're not getting shell maps of Battle Royale. I know that like could be a little bit. I don't personally like the idea of a shell map, but I mean, I'd play it as long as like the update kind of comes and we're not waiting 6 months for it. Battle Royale was released in early access. I don't see a problem with them replicating that success.
You know, almost unfinished form with poor matchmaking and still some issues. And then they're deciding, should we invest more time into this concept? Now, in my opinion, Fortnite is big enough of a game and has had enough success to where I don't think they need to be giving us products that are unfinished or beta testing products that is kind of like a substitute to something that already exists. You know, you have Valorant, you have CS:GO, and then you have Fortnite Ballistics, which is kind of like a watered down version of, you know, those two games.
But I don't personally see an issue with it as long as Battle Royale isn't suffering. If they were to release the full game, yeah, sure, release the full game. If they want to release it in early access, some people might want to play that. I don't see the problem with that as long as Battle Royale, the main mode, is still having its nice attention, updates, it's not suffering.
But then you have like Minecraft and other survival games, but then you have Fortnite Lego, which also in its initial state, and even now, is still considered like a watered down, less content filled, less exciting version of Minecraft.
And that's as of right now, and that's true. These games do not stack up, not even close, to their counterparts. On the other side of the coin, though, in the state that they're in, I don't know if anybody else has the same experience for me, but I would imagine that a lot of people, like a good chunk of people at least, have that same experience as me, where there's a lot of times where not everybody has other games or other games updated or other games downloaded or never played another game before. But there's a lot of people who want to play an experience within Fortnite. They know Fortnite. It's easy to matchmake. Fortnite is the easiest game to play because it's free. Everybody has it. It's fairly easy. Everybody's familiar with the controls, right? I know a lot of people in my personal circle that will play Fortnite Ballistic, but they will never try the counterpart ever. They won't even consider it. But they're familiar with Fortnite. They like Fortnite. They'll try this type of game mode. So I kind of like that we have those options available. For me personally, yeah, like it doesn't come close. Like I enjoy Fortnite Ballistic, but I'd rather play Search and Destroy. But if I'm on Fortnite, if I'm playing Battle Royale, hey, why not a round of Ballistic? I do like the game mode. You know, it's a lot easier to switch to that than go switch to Call of Duty. That's where I'm coming from, that sense. And I would imagine that people do have that same experience. I just don't know how often that kind of takes place. I would imagine it's enough.
You can do the same comparison with rocket racing and whatnot. And what I'm trying to say is that when Fortnite invests time into these new modes, I feel like they're not leading the charge. They are copying the charge. They're copying the trends that are out there. Valorant is a success. We're going to make our version without the twists. That's the weird part. It's like, where's the Fortnite touch?
Yeah, I agree with that. I just think with time, things like Lego, I don't have confidence that like Lego will be as good as Minecraft, but I have confidence that with time, I'm talking years down the road, it will be a competitor. I don't know if it'll overtake, but I think it will be a competitor. Something that I really, really agree with Sypher about what he just said is the Fortnite twist. That doesn't exist. Why? And you can still do the same thing. Separate casual and competitive. I would love to see the Fortnite wacky weapons in something like Fortnite Ballistic. I would love that. And if I want to play a solid competitive match, leave it as is and competitive and have things like, I don't know, like some exotic weapons, things like even the Nighthawk, things like just, you know, any wacky thing that Fortnite has had. If you want an inflatable, like bouncing off those walls, things like that.
Fortnite Battle Royale became a success because they took the Battle Royale concepts and they added their own touch, which was the build mode and the unique look and feel of Fortnite.
Yeah, but how do people feel about build mode now? How do people feel about just adding some wacky kind of overpowered and unbalanced weapons now? There's been a complete mindset shift, 100%.
And that allowed them to be insane success. The problem is they're not taking that formula and applying it to these new modes. They're not taking that formula and applying it to the updates. It's like we're at a point where we're either just maintaining or we're just putting stuff out to grab some attention but not take any heavy swings. And I don't know the details and I don't know how much time and money is invested into some of these projects, so I can't just be here like, no, you should make a better version of Valorant or you should make a better Minecraft. But I do feel like the way we are going right now with these new modes and with where Fortnite is putting, you know, a lot of their effort into, we are making game modes that already exist, but we're not adding the twists.
But again, I'll sit here and stand on it. If they were to add a Fortnite twist to some of these things, more often than not, people would just sit down and have a fit about it. They would have a fit. I always use this example, but I understand Season X was a little bit of a, giant swing in the casual area, but everybody was freaking out about weekly updates. Everybody was freaking out about weekly map changes. And ignore the mechs. Ignore the mechs. People were upset that the loot pool was changing every week. People were upset that we were getting a brand new item every week. People were upset that like it was nonstop. It was nonstop with whatever they are adding. Could you imagine weekly POI updates? People were freaking out about that. Epic listened, and that's why we got Chapter 2 Season 1. And now that's looked at as one of the most hated updates in Fortnite history. Epic Games listened to the community, and the community still wasn't happy. There's been a complete mindset shift. The attitude that everybody had when playing OG Fortnite, it no longer exists.
That makes Fortnite what it is. And
sorry, again, they tried to do that with Fortnite Wrecked. They tried.
Obviously, you're watching this game, and you realize I haven't ran into a single real player yet. That guy might have been real. I'm not too sure if he was or wasn't. But this is also another topic that we cannot ignore anymore.
And I completely agree with this. 1000%. I don't understand. Like, it's such a collective agreement for the vast majority of people, especially online. Does Epic Games know something we don't for the people who are just playing the game and not online? Like, why would they keep bots in the game for so long? There's got to be a reason, because like we've been complaining about this since Chapter 2. I just wish that Epic Games would be a little bit open about that.
Before I get into that, before I get into complaining more, because I'm not trying to complain, I'm trying to give feedback here.
And this is for everybody watching this video, and this is why we love this community over here that we have over on this channel, because we all typically think pretty critically and we're not like overly aggressive. This is how you critique a game. It's sad that I have to say that, but it must be taught.
I want to address that the last video that I made about the state of Fortnite has actually done a lot of things on that video since then. I'm not saying that they did it because of that video. That video is pretty much just what the community was feeling.
And I'm sorry, I'm sure that I've watched a video, but I'm not familiar with what video he's talking about or the context in it. So I wish I could comment on that, but I'm not familiar.
For the most part, and what I'm seeing as somebody who is involved in the community, who has a big community around Fortnite, those are not just all my words and my feedback. That's literally what I see you guys talk about in my streams and my comments. So from the last video, hit scan weapons have returned. People were not a big fan of the projectile weapons. Some people are, but I think majority voted to bring back hit scan.
Agreed. And Epic Games, again, they've done a great job in Chapter 6 throughout so far.
It makes sense because
it's what we're all used to.
That's what most of Fortnite was hit scan for the longest time. And then one of the most popular modes, which is reload, is also hit scan focused.
And I always wonder if reload was kind of like the shift in Epic where it's like, okay, people are really enjoying this.
So as a result, they brought it back, and it's what a lot of people have been asking for. So that's a huge win. The second thing is, hold on.
Oh,
Gonna reset here.
we saw some edits over here. We saw some editing. Nice. They're bringing back things like the Man Pistol.
Hackers. Now I know some of you might disagree, but from what I'm seeing in tournaments, there is a lot less hacking happening in the game, and there's a lot more. There's a lot more hula hoops that people have to jump through to hack in Fortnite now.
Now I've heard that. I don't play. I play competitive, like I play arena and stuff, but I don't play in any tournaments, so I can't have a stance on this. But from what I've heard, Sypher is correct on this. They're doing a good job so far.
Which is all really good stuff, because literally the entire state of the game, the entire state of competitive will crumble if hacking is not addressed.
Yeah, and apparently Call of Duty is suffering with that right now. But again, I can't comment on that from my personal experience.
I do think that there's still a lot of room for improvement, but they have actually made, since that video, they ended up suing a hacker. They ended up adding more requirements for you to play tournaments. Every game out there struggles with hacking, and online games will always have a hacking problem, but they're making an effort. The live events and the story, they have stepped up. They have stepped up with the live events. They have
Okay, he's right in saying that they've stepped up, but it's not nearly enough, in my opinion, and I would imagine that a lot of people would agree with that. The storyline has been better At least we're having a little bit of consistency with the characters. But look, there's a Star Wars season coming next season. I can't imagine like this dark presence that's coming. Like it's gonna be Palpatine. Like I'm not looking forward to that. I'll enjoy the Star Wars season. I'll enjoy the gameplay, but so much of the Fortnite magic and touch came from the storyline, following Donald Mustard's creation. And from what it seems, they kind of drove him away. The live events were such a huge gathering. And this is, I know Epic Games is capable of doing this. Again, and I'm sorry, I don't know how else to say it. Like, I hate using this argument, but a multi-billion-dollar company can afford to have one storyline event a season and one collab event a season. That seemed to be a nice, perfect fit. You can get your money with the collab, keep the storyline fans happy, and people still logged on for that.
Stepped up with the story. Is it where it once was? Is the interest from the community there for the story? It's slowly building back up. It's still far away from the peak of Fortnite when a lot of people were actually interested in the story.
I don't know if I would say it's slowly building back up. I don't know if I would agree with that. Comment down below if you agree or disagree with that, because I would say no, but it's always possible.
But they have made strides towards improving that, and I think we'll have to see how it ages. But I think over the next year or two, the story content and the live events will just continue to get better.
And sorry, I meant to touch on those mini events too. Like they've been doing a good job with the mini events. It's just it doesn't hit the same. I'm at the point where I'm missing some mini events live. I don't care. I would not have felt that way. I would not have felt that way at all when it came to any of Donald Mustard's events. I would have been actually like disappointed throughout my day if I were to miss like that one-time event. But for a mini event, I'm like, I'll watch it on Twitch.
Now, when it comes to the Fortnite XP maps and, UEFN situation, there's still a lot of room for improvement, but at the very least, it's on the roadmap, and they are aware of some of the pain points, like, how important XP is for players, how there's ways to exploit the XP system, and how a lot of the maps that you see in Fortnite are still kind of like the same repeat concepts of Zone Wars, Red versus Blue.
We've talked about this at Great Lakes on the channel, and ultimately, like, I think that there is a ton of room for improvement with UEFN. I don't think it's in this, like, crash and burn state that people are making it out to be, but Discovery needs a fix. Epic Games needs to step up. Epic Games needs to communicate with the people that they're expecting to kind of, I don't know if they're, like, necessarily expecting it, but, like, as game developers, they want to have those people kind of work on the Fortnite maps full-time instead of going over to another company. They need the communication. They need things like that. We've had multiple videos on the topic. For the Red vs. Blue type maps, for the Zone Wars types maps, I'm still kind of the opinion those will get players regardless. And I know you can comment down below and say that it's because they're on the front page. I know, but I find myself still searching up Zone Wars maps and new experiences for things like the finest realistic. A lot of people, and this will change throughout time. You need to take time to gather more of a casual player base and like that are open to trying things like horror maps or your brand new death run experience. For the most part, the Fortnite fan base still loves like the battle royale type mode.
For all style maps, and there's very few that kind of come out and are able to go viral and bring people to the game. And I think, the important thing when it comes to these maps, when it comes to creative, is to bring people to Fortnite. And right now, no map really does that. Besides, every once in a while, you have a map like, for example, the Squid Game map, which I'm not sure if they were allowed to use the Squid Game IP or not. That's a whole other story.
I don't know if even that, did that really bring people over? Did that really bring anybody over to Fortnite? I would, to be honest with you, it would be a little difficult to see. I can't even see Only Up really bringing people over. That was a massive hit.
But the Squid Game map brought people to the game. The Only Up map brought people to Fortnite. It's bringing outside people to download the game to actually make the game go viral.
Did it? Like, I don't think so. I can't see people, and I could be wrong about this, so please, again, comment down below if you disagree. I can't see people looking at Only Up and just downloading Fortnite for that reason when you had the actual Only Up game. And I think things like that will change with time. That would shock me if it was any significant number of people.
But there's only a few handful of maps that have managed to do that. And some maps out there maybe have potential, but don't ever really get to see the light of day. But I got sidetracked a bit. So far, I've fought a couple more real players, but a huge problem right now in the community, and it has been a problem for a while, is the amount.
Guys, if you want to hear me talk more about UEFN and the state of it, we have a ton of videos on the topic recently.
Of bots in the game. And the reason why this is only going to get worse unless it is addressed is because Fortnite keeps adding new modes. The more modes they add, the more spread out the players are, right? We knew that was going to be a thing, but Fortnite has millions of players every single day. There are millions of people who play this game. There are millions of people who are playing at any given moment. Right now, 1 to 3 million, depending on the time. So they have the player count, but with everything split up amongst regions and with the amount of modes we are getting between Fortnite, Reload, OG, LTMs, creative maps, Lego, Racing, Festival, all of that, and more projects that are coming out, ballistics and so on. They are filling the lobbies with more and more bots.
I never really considered that to be the reason. Like, if you want to fill the lobby with like 5-10 bots, whatever. I still disagree with it. I would imagine that most people would be comfortable with a longer waiting time to not play against bots. I would imagine so. And I know you're worried, and I spoke about it earlier in this video even, about the people who are not willing to wait for that. The people with the fried dopamine receptors, the people who can't handle actually sitting down and waiting. I actually think that Epic Games was onto something with them, and I don't remember what the exact like mechanic or like build was called, but it was the ability to actually scroll through social media, to have TikTok up on your screen while you're queuing for a game. That was something that was leaked that Fortnite was working on. I don't know if they've abandoned it, or I don't know if it's still in the works. I actually think that might be a fix for it. Because how often do you like, I don't particularly do this personally because I am oftentimes talking with the party while I'm waiting for a game. But how many people do you know that are waiting for a game, they just pull out their phone, they start scrolling? Most people do that, and I would imagine that that would be enough to take care of the situation, like with the long queue times. But I know that there are a lot of people that like their dopamine receptors are beyond fried, and you might need to add TikTok. Like, I really think that might have been a fix. I never really considered until while hearing Sypher say it. I'm sure I've like talked about it before, but I didn't think about it like while on the issue with bots. I still think that the biggest reason for the bots is because we've been hearing it since 2018 about people quitting, people crying, people whining about people being too good at the game. We've been hearing it since Chapter 1, Season 5. I thought that that was the primary fix for bots. And I mean, I could be right, but obviously Sypher is close to Epic, and I know that he said he doesn't know in this video exactly what they're doing, but I would imagine that he actually does know.
And I don't know what kind of data they have that shows that the bots are helping keeping players on the game. We might be in the minority here. A lot of people don't even know they're fighting bots.
That's it, right? That's it. I want to hear from Epic Games, and I wish that we could have that sort of communication, which we do not deserve. I personally wish, like, because I'm usually of the opinion, like, I sit down and I'm like, okay, I don't know more than this multi-billion-dollar company about how to run this game. Perhaps with like these particular things that they don't take into consideration, sure. But for the most part, I don't know. And I know you're going to comment down below, some of you. You're going to be like, oh my God, get off your knees from the multi-billion-dollar company. No, sorry, I'm thinking rationally about it. Fortnite has been more successful than I probably ever will be in my life, and same with you. What do they know that I don't? I can't think of that.
I've seen them myself. I've seen really bad players, family members who are fighting on Fortnite. They're going against bots and they think they're fighting real players. So we really don't know. Bots could be the reason Fortnite is still alive. But I will say this. A lot of people are not happy.
The online community. The online community are not happy, and that is a fraction of the player base.
Even casual players who are not very sweaty, not very good at the game, are not happy with the amount of AI that they are fighting in this game. Right now, I'm playing at night. It's like 9 p.m. my time, Central. There should, I mean, you know, it's spring break. There should be more real people that I'm facing. I'm playing the main mode, Chapter 6 solos.
It seems simple, though. It seems simple. Have a toggle. Are you willing to wait longer to play a game full of a lobby full of real people? What could that hurt? That's what I'm wondering. What could that hurt? That seems like a 100% positive to the game. Have a toggle, and for the people who want bot lobbies, have a toggle for that as well. I don't see an issue with that.
But half of my kills are not even real players. They're not even real. And this is something that's very tricky for them, because I understand the reason for bots.
And again, I don't think we know the exact reason, but I think it's because of the bad players or the people who don't want to fight against anybody, like anybody that's better than them. I don't think it's for the queue times, but I'm open to that being a possibility.
And there's been times where I've sat here and said, hey, bots are a necessary evil. It helps new players. But it is at a point now when I look at the content creators in the scene, the YouTubers, and listen, you know, I'm not saying that we matter that much, but that's the community that I know. It's the people that I play this game with. So
I disagree. I think they matter a lot more than, I mean, Sypher might just be being humble there, but there's a lot of people who base their fun off of other people. There's a lot of NPCs in the world who will parrot what their favorite streamer is saying. If SypherPK is having fun, I'm having fun. You know, that I believe for most of you watching this video vastly underestimate how many NPCs there actually are in the world who really, really go through life like that.
So for me, from a personal perspective, I will speak on it. People don't really have a lot of content to make out of Fortnite, even though we're getting all these updates. The big thing is that the content feels fake. The fights feel fake. You get the new weapon, you want to try it against some real players, and you're not even really getting to do that.
Yeah, remember the videos popping back in the day? Things like, oh my god, I got so many kills in Fortnite. Oh my god, we went fight to fight to fight. Craziest game of all time. That no longer exists.
The wins also do not feel like they used to because of these bots. So that
I don't know if I should even go through it. I've talked about it at such great lengths on the channel, guys. Skill-based matchmaking and bots both need to go, in my opinion. I will bring you back to that face sweet tweet until the end of time. People no longer, and they have a complete attitude change. People back in the day playing games were a lot happier when they found the prestige guy in Call of Duty. They either wanted to friend them or they did everything they could to actually beat that guy instead of whining, crying, telling that person to touch grass. Chapter 1, Season 1 OG, when it was first reintroduced, I forgot how much fun it was to actually play a game where anybody in any lobby, there were no bots, there was no skill-based matchmaking, and you had to play so carefully. You got that endorphin rush, you got that adrenaline rush again. I haven't experienced that in a video game in so long. I forgot how much fun that was, and that was the reason why Fortnite was so popular. You were playing in a lobby with 100 real people. You were playing in a lobby that was so difficult to the point where everybody remembers their very first win. When you finally were able to conquer that lobby, everybody finally remembers their first win. That no longer exists, and the whole world has had a complete attitude change on the idea.
excitement around the content as a result is also down. From a viewership perspective, from people watching the game, when they're watching their favorite casual creator make content and play the game, they're not as excited because there's not as much risk, there's not as much at stake in any regular match.
And you don't even need the updates. Think about how bare bones Chapter 1, Seasons 1, 2, and even a little bit of 3 were. Think about how bare bones that was, but people were having so much fun because people are actually logging on the game with the purpose of having fun, which people don't do anymore. People are forcing themselves to play the game. And again, just because you're the exception about to comment down below doesn't make the rule to that. Think about how bare bones that game was, and people were still having fun with the idea of this game being so challenging and surviving in 100 players. Think about like hiding in a bush, how much fun that was.
And yeah, you have ranked mode, but ranked mode is really divided by the ranks, and not all the people that I play with are in the same rank, and not all the people I play with are trying to sweat the entire time. So is it all doom and gloom? I really don't think so. But I think there are some key points that Epic needs to work on and focus on this year and next year to make sure that the state of the game, it continues to improve.
And guys, like, I know that I've probably been, I don't know if I've actually been negative throughout Sypher with this video. I just acknowledge that there is a lot to fix about Fortnite, but I am not like all doom and gloom like a lot of the Fortnite community online is. I think that the game is still thriving. Well, the game is thriving. It doesn't even matter what I think. The game is still thriving. The player numbers are absolutely there. Yeah, you know what? The online Fortnite community is hurting a little bit, but that is such a fraction of the player base. The game is still doing very well. I trust Epic Games. More importantly, all of these modes and UEFN, it's all in its infancy. And I think with years' time, I trust Epic Games to be able to, you know, replicate the success that they've had with Battle Royale. Not to that extent, of course, but it will be, I think everything will be completely okay.
And we don't end up losing this community. And I think this community is very important. We have been here from the very beginning of Fortnite.
That's at risk. Sorry to keep pausing. Like, I know I should let Sypher say a few words there, but that's the only thing that's actually at risk. And that's important. I love the online Fortnite community. And I would imagine that we would still have this community that we have over here on the channel, which I'm very, very grateful for. I'm talking about the online Fortnite community space. That's the thing that I can actually see dwindling down and starting to go away with time. But I'm not even worried about that. I'm just open to that possibility. I think everything will be okay, man.
The community of people who are not just interested in playing the game casually, but interested in engaging with content and engaging with communities that surround this game. That is us. That is you guys watching. You're not just a Fortnite casual player if you're watching a video of some guy talking about Fortnite. You are passionate about this game. Some of you more than others.
That's exactly correct. Exactly.
And I do feel like this community is at risk of eventually disappearing if the content direction doesn't become, one, more serious in the sense that we need more real content updates where Fortnite is leading the charge instead of reusing and rehashing what they've done in the past, and leading the charge in the sense that the reason Fortnite became a success is because they took a big risk on this building mode and put it with the biggest trend, which was battle royales, and came Fortnite from that.
It is on Epic Games to do that type of stuff, but I don't want to sit here and go, oh, it's the YouTube algorithm's problem. Like, I don't mean to do that, but there are also, like, for content wise, I know a lot of people are online are just completely frustrated with the idea of Fortnite content right now. As Sypher said, a lot of it feels fake. A lot of it is geared towards a younger audience. And a lot of us as smaller creators need to do a better job in, you know, finding our way into the YouTube algorithm, popping off. The only problem is we're not at a point right now where YouTube is kind of, and I don't want to sit here and I don't want this to come off the wrong way in saying it's YouTube's fault. My channel deserves to be as big as Sypher's. You know, I'm not coming from that angle, okay? At all. I hope that you guys just take me for what I'm saying over here. There are so many smaller creators. I'm talking between the 5K to 30K, 50K, things like that. Creators in that area that make such phenomenal, engaging Fortnite content with such a community based around that. As those creators continue to grow, I think the online Fortnite community space will be in such a better place. I have a video, and I know I could just be saying, if you're a new viewer, I know I could just be saying, oh, it's just a, you know, go watch my other video too. I have a video on all of the Fortnite YouTubers that I particularly watch. I suggest you guys go give that a chance. And if you're interested in any of the content, I talk about what types of videos that they make. You can go check out any of them. There is a big hole in the content space right now, but the hole doesn't actually exist. It's just the creators are unknown at the moment. There are so many amazing, passionate people making content right now with such a community around them and making content to like the level, and arguably a lot of the content's better than people like SypherPK, but they're unknown at the moment. With time, as the years go by, as long as these people are dedicated, they will find their way into the YouTube algorithm. They'll blow up. People are coming. I have a good feeling about the future for Fortnite content.
They need to get back to that kind of magic, that kind of sauce. The second part is making the games feel real again, making the games feel like they're impactful, that there's some weight to it, and you're fighting real players, right? Those are two huge key points that are still pain points.
But can you do that? I agree with the first part about Epic Games leading the charge with the updates and making like the stuff to make content on. Can they at this point do that? Throw people into a lobby with no bots? And I know skill-based matchmaking isn't something that SypherPK mentioned, but I believe the game would, I don't know if it'd be better. Back in the day, yeah, but time's gone on. We're past 2020. People are only getting more and more upset, angry, depressed. Their brains are fried more and more as each day goes on. People will not sit down and like focus on having fun anymore. I really believe that is a big issue. Can you remove the bots and keep people happy? I don't know. For a lot of the online players, yeah, you can remove bots, but at least like no chance for skill-based matchmaking. I don't know. I'm almost of the opinion with SypherPK that it might just be a necessary evil. It might just be. How many people do you know in your life that are actually capable of not throwing a fit when they're playing with some real people? Because you're not supposed to win a battle royale. You're not supposed to. In chapter 1, in the OG days, everybody understood that. Everybody had fun with it. Now, you can't.
That have not necessarily been addressed since my last video, and I feel like it's very important for me to talk about it. A lot of my friends, a lot of my fellow content creators, I see them struggling. I see them struggling in even playing the game because they were there when the wins really felt like exciting, when it really mattered, and their communities were there too. And it feels like it's kind of like a shell of its former self. Not the game, but the communities around the game. One clear sign that that is the case, by the way, that I'm not just yapping for the sake of yapping, is what new Fortnite content creators have blown up in the last couple of years. And I'm talking about blown up to the millions of subscribers.
I think that'll come in years down the road. But Sypher's completely correct in the things that he just said as well.
And, you know, hundreds of thousands of views, whether it's on YouTube or Twitch or whatever. There really hasn't been.
Sorry, I just thought like the only one was Arch talking about Nick 830 scamming him. That's what we have to go. We're a society now who thrives off of negativity.
Mr. Fresh Asian blow up back in the day. You had the X2 twins. Nowadays, the only people who really get a lot of attention, like new players that get a lot of attention, are competitive pro players. And it's really just tied to the competitive pro scene.
And I still think that's great. Don't get me wrong. I think that's great that people are blowing up the competitive scene. I love to see that.
And not a lot of them are interested in even making content. So they're just really just competing and creating a fan base on the competitive side of things. You have people like Peterbot and other names that have risen up over the past few years. But when it comes to content creation, the level of exposure that is being given right now with the content being put out and level of opportunities for people to grow is almost not there. And you see that. You see that because there aren't new faces coming to the game. There's only big creators that are slowly moving on from the game. You have people like Ninja taking a break from Fortnite. You have people streaming less and less, creating content less and less.
And now I want to talk. I was looking for a point to pause this video and actually give thoughts on this, because in the past, I have always agreed with, and I don't know how many of you guys have watched a video. I wish I can remember the video off the top of my head. Something Clark Clint used to say back in the day was, or I know back in the day, I mean, like, I'm talking like the video is probably like a year old, maybe a little bit more. He was saying that it would be great if people, if instead of always making videos, collaborating with the same people, you know, SypherPK sneaking in Nick 830's lobbies, things like that, they were open to smaller creators. I know. And I agreed with that completely. I said that would have been awesome. That seems like the easy fix. But Clark has since changed his mind on that. And I see where he's coming from in that, where it's like a lot of people in the space have an honesty issue. So it's completely understandable for somebody like Sypher to not reach out to a younger guy and instead like stay with his content friends and stay a little bit safe. I'm just starting to experience that as well, where it's like you talk to somebody, you're cool and this and that, and then, you know, you see them talking crap about you, you know, all of that exists a lot more than you think it is. And I can't imagine for somebody at like the status of like the people that I'm starting, because the people in a lot of my circle right now in the content field are doing a lot more successful than I am. I can only imagine that if I'm experiencing a little bit of that, I can't imagine what it's like on the other side of the coin over there. So I know, and the only reason that I brought up what Clark said is because I have said that same thing where it's like, that sounds right. Like Clark came up with this idea, and I think that's great. I think that would help the content space a lot. He's since changed his mind, and I'm starting to myself understand why.
And I do fear that if things don't get addressed, if we don't start seeing content that actually brings people and brings excitement back to Fortnite, where Fortnite is, you know, back to being the leader of content creation and adding new things, this community will, I'm not gonna say it's gonna die, but this community will just keep on dwindling down.
And that's the only thing that I absolutely agree with. Like, you know, with like the Fortnite is dying space, you know, I completely disagree with that. Fortnite's going to be completely fine. Fortnite's still the best game ever, and Fortnite's going to continue to pop off. Fortnite's going to be great, but I'm talking about the online hardcore Fortnite community. I agree with Sypher, and that is the only thing that's at risk. And that's a sad thing to lose. Like, I'm not saying like, oh my God, it's a big deal. Like, we're losing one thing. No, that's huge. But that's the only thing that I agree with, that like, okay, if Fortnite keeps it at the pace that they're going, you know, this is going to take a hit.
But I want to remind you guys one more time that so far, from what I've seen, Fortnite is listening. They might act very slow on the changes. Some of them do take time and are longer than others to implement. But Fortnite has been listening. I see it from the last video to this video. A lot has changed. But like I said, there are some very important things that cannot be ignored for much longer.
And it's important to mention as well that Epic Games wants their game to succeed. You see this brought up a conversation a lot where it's like, oh my God, it's like Fortnite wants to kill their own game. That is so far from the truth. Sypher's right in saying that things take time to implement. I'm of the opinion, and I hate saying this, is the only time I will ever bring up this type of argument is in this type of area, okay? As a multi-billion-dollar company, they can afford more people and more teams working on things, and I don't get why they don't do that. It seems like, okay, just make some more skins. Do something that's profitable to cover that. But again, I'm sitting here and going, they must know something that I don't, because it seems easy from my perspective.
And I hope you guys agree with me. I hope you guys are able to comment down below in a constructive way how you feel about the game. And hopefully we see some more positive change and some more strides towards making this game the best game it possibly can be in the year of 2025 and moving forward. Thank you guys so much for watching.
And man, that was actually a really, really solid video. I get why everybody's been talking about that. There were a lot of points that Sypher brought up, and excuse me, guys, sorry about that. I think that I've agreed with pretty well everything that he said in this video. I think. I'd have to go back and actually watch like what I disagree with, but he brought up some really major hard points. I'm always of the opinion that I am like Fortnite is completely fine. It will continue to be fine. I think it's a people issue. I really, really believe that. If people were in a better mental state, if people were actually focusing on sitting down instead of forcing themselves to play a game that they don't like, if people were actually sitting down, focusing on having fun, they would have fun. That's what I do. That's what my friends do. Every single time that I play this game throughout every season, there's a reason why I keep saying Fortnite's never had a bad season. It's because I have fun logging on with my friends every single time that I play. If I'm not feeling like playing Fortnite, I won't play Fortnite. There are other games that people can experience, and I believe that is the main problem. It's not like in these little updates, because BR right now, it's a blast. The new exotics are great. The vaults are fun to loot. It's a theme that it has been reused, but it's a theme that people like, you know? I'm having fun with Ballistic. I'm having fun with Reload especially. I think that Fortnite's still in a great spot, but there are a lot of things that I would absolutely want to change about the game. But there is something else that's very, very important. As I mentioned with Sypher when he was talking about like there's no new creators in the space, and I spoke about there are a lot of creators, they're just relatively unknown. Please, guys, if you are looking for more content to watch, check out this video on screen right now. I dive into every single Fortnite YouTuber that I watch myself and what kind of content they make. So perhaps if you're interested, you can check out one of the channels in this video. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Take care.